Hello, let's make cities more inclusive in Southeast Asia. We start our journey with an understanding that folks working on inclusion are not adequately leveraging technology, while people working on smart solutions for urban challenges are not always strengthening inclusion through their solutions. There is a huge potential for smart solutions to tackle inclusion challenges in Southeast Asia, a gap that the ASEAN Australia Smart Cities Trust Fund, financed by the Government of Australia through the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, managed by the Asian Development Bank, and implemented by Ramboll, has been working to fill through the Inclusive Cities Dialogues. Over the course of 6 months, AASCTF and the Asia Foundation held 9 dialogues with over 185 stakeholders from 7 countries in 14 cities. A total of 25 changemakers, from city officials to civil society leaders, shared their insights on issues faced and the initiatives they've implemented. In these Inclusive Cities Dialogues, we sought to understand, what are the challenges of inclusion in urban spaces from the perspectives of marginalized groups? What are the smart solutions emerging to tackle these? We talked directly with the people, to policymakers and government officials from the national and local levels to development practitioners, NGOs, and researchers, and to the private sector. 4 key messages emerged from the dialogues. First, there is incredible energy for more inclusive change. Despite resource and capacity challenges, there are reform champions in the region, such as Pak Muhammad Ramdan Pamanto, mayor of Makassar in Indonesia, who has ensured that inequalities in Makassar are being addressed in the city's smart city strategy. Many civil society organizations are also implementing creative initiatives to provide employment opportunities, improve public safety, and contribute to infrastructure planning. In several cities, government and non-government actors are working together productively, whether on policies, budget allocations, or pilot programs. Our second insight is that prejudicial norms and values are the #1 barrier to realizing more inclusive cities. Tangible barriers are significant, such as accessible transport and finance, but dialogue participants were of one voice on this point. Addressing these barriers requires going to the root cause, transforming discriminatory attitudes, norms, and values against marginalized groups that perpetuate these barriers in the first place. Third, there is a huge gap between words and actions. In some cities, there are already policy frameworks that encourage mainstreaming inclusion practices, and dedicated efforts to empower specific groups. However, many in our dialogues acknowledge that more needs to be done. Resources for implementation are limited and many on-the-ground programs rely on NGO projects. While these are of great value individually, the bigger picture is one of fragmentation, lack of coordination, and missed opportunities to share knowledge and replicate good practices. Finally, the 4th key insight is that there are few comprehensive or intersectional approaches to inclusion. Most efforts to improve access and opportunities in urban areas tend to be siloed and focus on specific identity groups, leaving little opportunity for a broad approach or awareness of compounded disadvantages among planners, policymakers, and respective interest groups. While poverty is a barrier to some, disability a barrier for others, and gender discrimination a barrier for yet others, inclusive interventions are strengthened and responses made more effective when overlapping disadvantages are addressed by comprehensive approaches. The Inclusive Cities Dialogues was a platform to bring everyone to the table and to especially give marginalized groups a voice. The journey doesn't end here. Making cities more inclusive with the use of smart solutions has a long way to go. Let's continue to look out for successful initiatives from the region and replicate practices, promote reform champions, and empower the marginalized.